So what I want to talk to you about is what's called the NLP model of communication. So the NLP model of communication is how we understand how the mind works, how we process the world around us, and then how we project what we perceive internally out into the world, which leads to our behaviours, which leads to our outcomes in life. Hi, Abby. So let's start with talking about what happens around us first. So we all have external events that happen around us all of the time. And when I say external events, I mean like everything around us. Like me sat here in front of you, I can see my phone, I can see my computer, I can see my lights, I can see a cup of coffee. All of these are external events. I don't necessarily mean like my birthday party or anything like that. I just mean everything that's around us all of the time. Now it's estimated, and remember, NLP was created in the 70s. It was estimated then that there are around 11 million bits per second of information that can potentially be in our awareness. Now, I would argue that that is quite a bit more now, because we've come on so much in technology and advancements with our phones. There's probably 11 million bits of information just in this thing that could potentially be in our awareness. We just know that it's a lot, right? It is a lot. And so what we do is we filter this information firstly through our senses. So visually, what we can see; auditory, what we can hear; kinesthetic, what we can feel and touch; olfactory and gustatory, what we can taste and smell. And we filter this in, and then we delete, distort and generalize this information, because we couldn't possibly pay attention to all of these 11 million bits per second of information, right? So we delete, distort and generalize based on our model of the world. Now, our model of the world is different for everybody. And, you know, as I said earlier, I used to think like, well, the world is the world. Everybody sees the world the same, but that's just not true. Our model of the world is created based on so many different factors, including time, space, matter, energy. So everything around us, everything within the universe is created from energy. Everything around us is particles that's made up of energy. So our model of the world is created from energy, time, space, matter, language, the language that we use, the meaning that we give to language, our memories, so the memories that we have of ourselves, the memories that we have of other people, decisions that we've made and decisions that we've seen other people make, our meta programs, which are our personality types, so whether we're introvert or extrovert, and various other different factors of our personalities, our values and our beliefs. So the things that are deeply subconsciously important to us, which are our values, the way we perceive whether things are good or bad, right or wrong, and how we kind of use, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, how we use our values is as like a compass to understand what direction we may want to go in life, or what things we want to do that are going to light us up or fulfill us. And if we go against them values, that can also leave us feeling unsatisfied and unhappy in life because our values are not being met. Our beliefs, so the things that we believe, whether they're positive or negative, things like you know, I'm not good enough to do that, could be a limiting belief, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's positive or negative, or it could be neutral. And our attitudes, so whether we are kind of glass half full or half empty, how optimistic we are. So all of this stuff builds up our model of the world, and we then create an internal representation in our minds of this external event, okay? When we've got that internal representation, that is then linked to the way that we feel, which is linked to the way that we move, which is linked to the way that we feel, which is linked to the internal representation. Our internal representation is like our perception, the way that we perceive information, our paradigm, right? So it's all internal based on all of those factors. And what we then do, and think about it, like, has anyone, like, if anybody has ever heard people say, like, if you're ever feeling like down, or if you're ever feeling like you need some more energy, just get up and move around. Or if you ever feel like you need to feel more confident, move your shoulders back and put your chin up. Like, immediately your physiology has made you feel better, which has created a new internal representation in your mind, which has made you feel better, which has changed the way that you move. What we then do is we project this behavior, we project this perception out into the world, which then leads to our behavior, which leads to our results in life. So let's say, for example, I wake up in the morning and I feel like, let's say I wake up in the morning and I feel like crap. right? I won't swear. I feel like crap, and I say to myself, and I might not consciously be aware of what I'm saying to myself, but I say to myself, I feel crap. And Cheetah says, very true. And then, well, what happens is already my shoulders are slumped. I feel a bit like I'm deflated. I feel a bit like contracted. And my voice seems to be a bit more lower. If I woke up in the morning and I said to myself, I feel good today, right? Already, just as I said it, my shoulders automatically went back. My voice changed. The way that I feel has changed. I've stretched myself out. My chin's slightly moved up a little bit. And it might only be a subtle change, but the whole way that, if you think about your state and your physiology, when we project that then out into the world, which leads to our behaviours, well, our whole life is going to be different if we have them different stories, them different perceptions on play. You know, like previously, I used to wake up in the morning and that's what I used to do. I'd look in the mirror and I'd be like, oh, you look rough, Rebecca. And then I'd feel bad, and then I'd move bad, and then I'd project that out into the world and I'd get a bad result. My behaviour would be crap, right? And then when I learned about NLP and I learned about the power of this, and I changed that narrative, and don't get me wrong, to begin with, it was a challenge, like to have to repeatedly do that and do other work at the same time to change my perceptions, mainly towards myself and judgment towards myself. I was able to change the stories that I told myself, which meant that was linked to my internal representation, my perception and paradigm of myself and my world and my place in it, which led to a different feeling, which led to a different movement, which projected out into the world, which gave me a different result, right? This is so simple when we fully understand it. And if you want, I've got a guide with a full description and an image to make it a bit easier to understand as well. So if you want to grab that free download, if you're on Instagram with me, you can pop me a message and I'll pop you the link. And if you're on Facebook with me, the link is just in the description. You can download it for free. So that is really